down and do. Here we go.
Thank you, Helen.
I think the recordings are great. I've gone back.
Yeah, as have I. There is a way of liking the YouTube channel. Do that. It helps our numbers, I think.
Yep.
And it also is an indication of, I think there's a separate thing to show how many times it's been viewed. And it's not a huge number, but 10, I mean, that's 3/4 of the number we usually get. And
right.
So I think it's easy enough. Graham and I've kind of got the sequence down, and I don't do it enough that I can remember without struggling a little bit, but I think it's a good thing. It's a cool thing. It's not even, anyway.
Is it or is it not private? Can anyone watch them?
Anybody can watch it that has the key or that does the search. Well, and I'm okay with that. I don't know. Maybe others are not, but.
Okay with what? I missed it, Mike.
With it being public as opposed to private.
I don't know. What difference does it make? As long as I can see it. But it's cool that other people know. It's cool that other people know what we're doing.
Yeah.
No question.
Okay.
I see we got a, I don't know if all of you did, but Michael, I know you and I, maybe Susan got an email from Alan Rousseau this morning.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I did.
Not sure you're on there. It's to the original list of members, but it just, I'll forward it to you. Okay.
All right.
Just saying hello to everybody, and things are still going on at the center, and that type of thing. I'll punch it out to you.
Okay.
He just sent it.
Oh,
And for those of you that don't know,
I haven't gotten it yet.
Maybe
okay, you're on the list.
I think it went to the hiking group.
It's the hiking group, right?
Looks like, yeah, it does look like the hiking group, because some of these people, you're right. You're absolutely right. Never mind about that. Okay, sorry about that. You are right.
All right.
My bad.
No problem.
Delete on that one.
I get emails from the Chatham Center for the Aging.
Yeah.
And I always list all the activities and all the Zoom meetings and everything, but the past few months I haven't seen anything dealing with us. And I was just wondering, are we still attached to the Chatham County Center for Aging, or catapulted, or are we just not communicating with them?
Well, Bill, I think that when we asked to put our videos on their website, that one time there was an announcement in the newsletter, but I don't know otherwise that they know what's going on. And maybe I think it would be really great to try and draw Alan back in as he can be involved. I mean, after all, he was the person who is responsible for the group existing. I mean, he was the impetus for it. And maybe he's the one to talk to bump about telling people that they can find us on YouTube. But
is he still on the list, Bill? The email list?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he sees.
So he's getting the emails.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Alan posted for a bit, but not of late. And Alan, if you're listening, tune back in, please.
All right. Cool.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll send him an email later on today after I take my nap, and be sure that at least it gets listed on the center's calendar of who we are and when we meet and all that kind of stuff, and go from there. But Michael, I think you're right. It did drop off when we requested to be on their Zoom platform, and we developed our own, and it sort of went away from there.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I believe this is Mr. Stano is going to give us some information. You need the screen mic, correct?
Yep, please, if we can do that.
Hang on a minute. I'm sure I can. I just need to stop and think. There we go. Participants. Mr. Stano. Oh. Well. Oh, here we go.
Well, let me just say, as Graham is looking for the button, and hopefully I can find my button as well. You know, I read an article. It was a 2-page article in the Costco magazine a couple of weeks or months ago, and it was about taking sharp pictures. And that caused me to suggest that maybe it was time to talk a little bit about the things that result in sharp pictures. And you know, it's a multitude of things. You know, determining depth of field, putting your camera on a tripod, doing everything you can to stabilize the image by using a camera body or a lens that has vibration reduction. I mean, there are a lot of different things that enter into doing a sharp photo, but you can't overlook how important just focusing is. And let me see if I can do my screen share at that point. And I want to do this. And it's not letting me do that.
You should be a co-host.
All right.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
There
you did.
Yep.
You did.
Yep.
Okay. And are you seeing the front of my manual?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, well, good, because I'm still seeing my photo in my picture in the thumbnail. So you can't overlook just the very basic thing about getting things in focus. And autofocus, I think, is probably one of the most complex things a modern day camera can do. You know, I have to confess that as I started trying to put this program together, I had to relearn some things about autofocus. It's not a simple thing. It is a difficult thing, and there are so many options anymore. And what I'm going to do or try to do this morning is just a simple idea of how to get to one of the most important, I think, autofocus concepts. And let's start with the idea that if you're shooting on full auto, which you do without choice on a phone, but what you can do by choice or otherwise on even a simple camera, digital camera. If you are on full auto, you are letting the camera brain decide what the focal point of something you have framed in the viewfinder is going to be. And the camera or the phone has a lot of choices to make if you give it that power. You may not see what the choices are, but there are lots of them that are in the camera or the phone memory bank for determining focus. My D700, I think, has a maximum number of choices for focus, the number 51. There are 51 different points on my sensor that can determine what the focus of that image is going to be. And the D70 is an old camera. Newer cameras, I'm sure, have a lot more. But if you give the camera or the phone the opportunity to make the choice, it's going to make a choice that's okay sometimes. It's going to make a choice that is rotten other times. And some of the things that will cause on full auto, a camera or a phone, to make the wrong choice are these. A dark scene, or a scene that is generally low in contrast. Picture something that is mainly blue sky, or mainly a white or other color background. That's going to fool the autofocus sensor on full auto to not even be able to focus sometimes, because it doesn't know what to choose. If there is a moving subject, that's going to cause confusion in the full auto sensor. If there are things that are foreground, midground, and background inside the frame as you picture it, that can cause confusion. And so here's your choice. You can either let the camera and its computer, or phone and its computer, figure out where the focal point, the focus point should be, and sometimes choose wrong, or you can tell the camera what to do. And what this session is about is telling the camera what to do, rather than letting the camera decide on its own what to do. Now, if you get to the idea of telling the camera what to do, there are a lot of choices. Some of the choices have to do with static images, things that don't move. Others have to do with moving subjects. You can set autofocus to take a single focus point that is static, or you can pick autofocus that is continuous. The focal point will move with whatever the subject does in the background. I'm not going to talk about
Mike, is that in the setup? Is that in the setup of that?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like the continuous might, for most cases, be the way to go.
Well, I'm gonna get to a very quick option list in a second, but it is in setup. Some of it is in menus, and some of it is on the camera body. But bottom line for me is going to be that a static focus point, a single focus point, is the one to most often use. It's good for portraits. It's good for landscape. And if you look at the pictures that this group has submitted for the challenges, how many of them have been subjects in motion? I would bet that more than 99% of the photos that get submitted through this group, 99% of the photos that I take are of static images. And so choosing something that's dynamic, that's constantly changing, it complicates things. And I think too, if you do as I did the last couple of days and look at articles on focusing, you're going to see that even the experts recommend a static or a single point of focus as being the best option. Moving right along. Now, getting to that single point of focus, rather than a choice of multiple choices of focus, or giving the camera its own power to choose focus, is going to be different camera to camera, or device to device. It's really simple to choose a single point of focus on a phone. All you have to do is frame the image and use your finger to touch on the part of the screen that has the thing in it that you want to make sure is in focus. If you've noticed, you get an image on your iPhone screen. If you touch the screen, a yellow box appears, and that yellow box is that single point of focus that you've demanded the camera in the phone take. But on a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, it's a little more complicated. And the method is basically parallel on Canon, Nikon, on Sony, Panasonic, whatever. But a lot of times what is different is the terminology used. So if any of this is of interest to you, if you don't already know it, you need your camera manual on hand. And I'm showing you the camera manual for my D700. But I will say that if you're using a Nikon, I have three vintages of digital cameras from Canon. I'm from Nikon. A D80, a D300, and a D700. And what I'm about to describe goes back at least to like 1990 in terms of their hardware and software. And I even have my newest Nikon film camera, an F100. The very same thing on that body as on a digital camera. So this is pretty typical of things. So if you are in your manual, and again, it's going to be parallel for one thing or another, one camera body or another. Look for the section on focusing. And having found the section on focusing, there are subdivisions. And if you go to focus mode, here is the beginning of the single focus versus continuous or dynamic focus. And the one you look for if you want a single area of focus is the top options. The S, the single servo autofocus. And that button it's on the camera body, not in a menu. And for all of my Nikons, digital and newer film, that button is on the left side of the camera body, close to where the lens release button is. The next thing to do is to go to, and I'm skipping some stuff that complicates it, I think. I'm going to the next section on area. And you pick, again, the top option. If you want the other options, read them on your own and work with them. But the single mode is displayed there. And again, it's a button on, or a lever on the camera. And this one's on the back of the camera. You can see by the little diagram that it's close to the view screen. It's right underneath the command rotating button. And you want that switch set to the one that is always on the bottom. If you were able to, I don't know whether I can zoom in. I guess I can't zoom in on that. But the choices there are brackets with a small point that's hollow in the middle, the very first one. Dynamic, which is that same bracket, the parentheses in between, or the brackets in between that with the 4 points on the outside, or the autofocus that's a darkened area. But you want, whatever your manual says, a single focus point selection, usually on your camera body. Now, let me change pages. The thing to do with once you've made
Mike,
those two,
Mike,
yes,
on my Nikon, it's got the AF/M, which with the autofocus in the manual. Is that what you're talking about? Right here?
yeah, that button, and I don't have my camera on my lap. That button is different, Mark.
Because I'm trying to find
there's
the
a
button you were talking
manual.
about.
Well, it may be a little bit different in your camera, but it's in the same spot on all of mine.
Well, I have a Nikon 7100. Okay, well, we'll talk later. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line for this is going to be, if you have questions, I know I'm going fast and probably
you're
not
fine.
fast enough, but if you have questions, call me,
Okay.
email me, or one of the other folks. And, Graham, for example, is the Canon person, or a Canon person, and he's going to be able to translate some of this into Canon language. But no, there is on a lens or a camera body another selection on the body itself, and that's for autofocus or manual focus. The lens needs to have that button on autofocus,
Right.
with the camera body on automatic focus, autofocus. But anyway, once you have it's set up to be a single focal point, you point that focal point, which is going to be smack dab in the middle of the screen, at what you want to be the main focal point, and half click the shutter button. You don't push it all the way through to take the picture. It's a soft press, and that will lock focus on that thing, person or otherwise. And what that then lets you do is, if you hold that button in place, half clicked, you can then recompose the photograph so that that thing you focused on is no longer in the middle. And we talk about rule of thirds. If you're taking a picture of a person, you do the autofocus focus lock with the person in the middle, and then you may want to move that face off to the side, up or down, whatever. But once you've locked into the principal thing, then you're ready, and to have recomposed, you're ready to snap the shutter. Well, and that's basically it. There is another way of doing the focus lock that you will read about if you get into articles. And that is to use what is called the back button. Rather than the shutter release, use a button on the back of your camera that can be set up, this time in the menu under for Nikons. It's in custom settings, which is the little pencil, and it's under controls. If you set it up that way, what you can do is everything I just talked about, but instead of pressing the shutter button, you can press a back button that is, again, on all my Nikons, is labeled. It's on the back up close to the viewfinder. It's labeled AE/LAF/L, which is auto exposure lock, auto focus lock. Then you can take your hands off of everything and just click the shutter. You don't have to keep your finger half pressed on the button. I don't know how much time I used, actually. I'm gonna.
That's excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's preaching to the choir on some.
No,
Can you see this article from Photo Life in front of on screen now? I think you can.
Yeah, we can see that.
There are lots and lots of articles on this subject. I mean, it is one of the more complicated things in a sense. But I'm going to send Bill a link to that article so that if you want to start with that, he can put it in the, if he will, put it in the minutes, and you can. But this is one of the more recent. This was updated on October 30th of 20. One of the better articles I found on focus modes, and you can see that down under 4 autofocus scenarios and examples, this writer goes into detail about what the best mode is. But somewhere in this article and in many more, the bottom line is using a single point of focus is the best for most everything that we shoot. And Mark, did you ever find that button you were talking about?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
So there on the D70-100, there's a switch on the body for autofocus or manual focus.
That's right.
And there's also a switch. Yeah, there's also I have some
also
manual focus. Yeah. I have some lenses that are manual lenses, and if you hit the button on the slide on the camera body, that turns off a motor in the camera if there is one, in terms of focusing. The one on the lens turns off the motor in the lens so that you can focus it manually. So.
So are you saying you can use a manual focus lens on this automatic camera, but the automatic
absolutely.
focus won't work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have some old lenses that aren't automatic.
Well, and that's another issue. The lens has to be an F-mount lens for Nikon.
Right, understand.
And some of the old lenses don't match with the current mount.
The F mount?
You said D. What did you say? DF mount?
Mount, you mean? The old
the
Nikons?
F mount, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm fortunate to have a good set of Zeiss lenses that are all manual lenses. You can't set anything on them.
Gotcha.
But they match up with the F mount, and you just have to focus them manually. And as an aside to all of that, in Nikons at least, and I'm sure it's the same in some way, true for Canons, when you're working with any lens, when that lens is in focus, a little green dot's going to appear in the view screen. You're looking through the viewfinder. And you know, with my bad eyes, when I'm using one of those manual focus lenses, I don't look at the image. I wait for the green dot to show up and just turn it back and forth until I get that green dot. Because I trust the lens and the camera more than I trust my old eyes. But anyway.
Cool.
I'm happy to talk to anybody, email anybody.
Thanks, Mike.
Welcome. I'm giving up my share.
Okay, thank you. Cool. Anybody got any questions for Mike?
Thank you.
And Graham, how close is what I described to what happens on a Canon?
There aren't as many physical switches on Canons as there are on Nikons. The modes are very similar. And the back button focus is achieved via a menu. It's a little incomprehensible on Canons. I find you have to find your way through that. But I think, you know, the key takeaways I would emphasize from Mike's presentation are single point of focus and back button focus. They will change your photography dramatically. The only other thing that I would point out is on most modern cameras, they have touch screen. You can at least enable a touch screen, and then they work exactly like Mike described as a modern iPhone. So you choose your focus point on the back of the screen. And that can make it easier, particularly if you're working on a tripod. Because of course the single, if you're like me and you use a single center point, that gets to be a real pain in the backside when you're on a tripod. You can change the focus point any way you want, but it's okay to do, but it's more cumbersome, I find, when you're on a tripod. So now with the EOS M's that I tend to use more than these big things, I just press the screen and it chooses that as the focus point. And then I press the focus button on the back and I'm set. So, but all of this stuff, I find you need to practice a lot. I did anyway. Mike B.
Yeah, one thing I noticed when I go in manual mode on a tripod, I'll use flip up the mirror and use the preview on the display on the back of the camera to compose the shot. And one reason I do that is in manual mode, you see all changes in exposure. I mean, you can dial in real quickly the proper exposure, but then you lose the focus points. I lose that single point of focus. And yeah, on the Canon 5D at least, you can, on that screen, you can touch and it will focus where you touch. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
I think part of the difference is that my cameras are old, generations old. But I don't play with what's called live mode on my older cameras. And I don't know whether you can get to what Graham is talking about if you're in live mode on a Nikon.
Yep. Well, I
oh,
don't
yeah,
have
maybe.
Nikon, but you certainly can in many cameras.
Yeah, you can do it in the Nikons. And also, when Mark was looking at his camera, on the newer Nikons, when you push that little button by the autofocus manual on the front by the lens, we have two control knobs. So you can actually set your focus mode and your single point at the same time. So it's not a separate, so they've evolved a little bit, yep. But it's all there.
Yeah, that's why reading your manual is really important. And I'll say again that having talked myself into giving this tips and tricks things, forced me to learn a lot that I had forgotten about setting focus mode, because I've had mine set on single point forever, and so I'd forgotten much of the other things, many of the other things.
You know what might be helpful is to have a list of what camera a given person uses, and then we know who to email.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I'm using.
So that if you're looking for a resource on a Panasonic, you can find somebody.
Yeah, I'm using a Canon. So Graham, who else uses Canon?
I do.
Who's okay? Frank. Excuse me.
Frank, AJ, Susan, by the look of it.
I do.
Oh, Mike B. Okay, good. Oh, so there are a few sensible people in here then.
I'm using a
Yeah,
Sony. I'm using a Sony mirrorless,
Yep.
and I know.
Yeah.
So, thank you. I need to read the manual, and now I know what the AEL button means.
yeah.
All right. Good job, Mike. Thanks very much for researching
Welcome.
and presenting that. I think you've got us all thinking. All right. Let me see if.
And let them know what cameras we have. I mean, does somebody want to? Did you want to compile a list, or is that what you were getting at, Helen, or do you not want to?
What is it? Well, let's everybody email me and I'll compile the list, and I'll send out a list. Well, let's see. I don't have the membership list, but I could get it, or one way or the other, we can send out a list. But those that are on board today, send me a list, and I'll start compiling it.
Yeah, get the list and send it to Bill.
Cool.
So list for what? Like what kind of camera we have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Branded model.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody tell me that an old Canon has that green dot. I sure wish it did.
If it does autofocus, they do.
And Bill, you don't have to list all 12 of your cameras.
It's only 4.
All right. So, are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Emails, yes.
Oh, cool. So it's done it. Sometimes, it works, and sometimes it doesn't. All right. So, who's laying claim?
That's not mine. That's Gary's. I guess Gary couldn't make the meeting today.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know much about the story behind it. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Obviously a Mexican restaurant, I guess.
Yeah. Flan and margaritas.
Right.
It looks like an iPhone photo or a phone photo. Looks like high ISO, and the resolution's fairly low on it, but
Right.
for a memory photograph, this works, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think there's an important distinction that I believe I'm sure I've talked about before, between, something aimed at conveying a memory, which are, tend to be more snapshotty and not necessarily meeting all the criteria that we might have when we're critiquing, and folks that were and photos that we're putting up or images that we're putting up as an art piece. So this, to me, falls clearly into that first category of it's a great memory shot.
It is.
Okay.
With the tie
Good shot.
halfway down the front and flip through his, and the
Say
other
again?
part flip on his back.
I'm sorry, Bill, I didn't hear you.
Just look at his tie. The
Oh, yeah.
main part, the back is down the front, but
Well, that's so it doesn't
flung
Yeah, right.
get dipped in the margaritas, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Bill, I would have thought you'd have been well versed in that.
Well, no.
About 4 margaritas.
All right.
We'll have to try it.
Okay.
That's my shot.
Mark.
Trying to capture the, sorry. Sorry. The anesthesia tube. Anyway, my attempt to capture the Christmas star, and this was difficult, and that's the best shot that I could get. I was trying to show some contrast with the trees rather than just two dots in the sky. I think I was about an f4.5, I think, at about 800 ISO, and it was quite a challenge for me. Astrophotography is not easy.
No.
But that's Jupiter there on the bottom with Saturn there on the top. And again, it's my attempt at a little astrophotography on December 22nd. So
okay, that looks great. I'm glad you found it, Mark. That looks to me way higher than 800 ISO.
I'll have to double check. Let me double check, but I think that's what it was, but I might be wrong.
All right.
It was still fairly light out.
There's a good image for you to practice your noise reduction on. So if you're looking particularly in the sky, you can see a lot of noise there. It'd be a good image to go and practice your noise reduction on in whatever software you're using. But I would give that a try. That looks very noisy for 800 to me, unless you're using a fairly old camera. Where
No, 7200.
I don't know how old that is, but most I would shoot at 800 ISO without having a qualm on most current cameras, even on older cameras. But so this looks a little noisy, but it did the job that you wanted it to do.
It did. I had issues. Some of the issues I had is trying to find star in the viewfinder, trying to keep it in the viewfinder while I was on the tripod. I got a good tripod, but you know, I kept losing the image in the sky, and that was another whole issue with my tripod. And I needed a little bit better tripods. Once I locked in, I'd let go, and it was out of the viewfinder. But I had a lot of fun with it, and I learned a lot, and keep working on it. But it's at least something I can say I shot it. That's it.
Hey, Mark.
And when you
what
put
was,
something
what
on a
was the exposure
tripod-
duration?
I'm
What was
sorry.
your shutter speed? What was your shutter speed?
You know, I can't. I think that's 2 seconds. I'll have to look.
One thing
it
you
was
can
2.5.
do. One thing you can do for night photography is you can go up to 20 seconds exposure without seeing the stars start to trail.
Oh, really?
And that
That's what I was
allows you
afraid
to-
of.
That will allow you to reduce your ISO and reduce some of the noise.
And that was probably what I should have done, but I was afraid to go that high because I thought I'd get star trail.
Yeah,
You know?
20 to 30 seconds is okay without a
Okay.
tracking.
When you go
head.
to tripod, you should be also make sure you take your image stabilization or your
Yeah, I did.
crash control and turn it off. Yep,
Cool.
I always forget.
Good job, Mark. Well, if you had a Canon, it would do it for you automatically. It detects when it's a tripod. So, you know, so you'll learn.
That's my shot. I know we weren't supposed to submit two, but I wanted to submit this one as a holiday. That's my grandson holding his brand new Paw Patrol helicopter. And my son, who is a architectural photographer, has a pretty big drone. What you don't see in this picture is right above his head is a big drone that my son was flying, and he had it maybe 5 feet above his head. And that's, I took that shot all by itself. Then I have other shots with the drone and my son and all like that. But there he is. And I probably should have used the shot with the drone in the picture, because you see the contrast with the drone right above his head and his little Paw Patrol helicopter there on the side. But he was just fascinated. So I wanted to include that as my main holiday shot.
I think
Well,
it looks
I like-
better
Mark,
without.
you've got you.
Now, go ahead, whoever.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I think it looks better without the drone. Just the expression on the face. You look at it, you wonder what he's all excited about, and just
Right.
That's what I
it
was gonna
captures.
say,
That
yeah.
makes the image.
He could be looking at Santa Claus flying over him right there.
Well, it's like, yeah, what's in the sky?
Right.
Yeah, that's
And
fantastic
Mark,
shot.
Oh no, Grandpa.
Mark, Mark, I started to say that you've gotten some incredible shots of this kid, and this is yet another one. The
Yeah.
one's
He's
on
got
the
some hair, doesn't
caterpillar
he?
or whatever.
He's got some hair, doesn't
he sure does. No, and as great as this shot is, if I was to get really picky about
he?
it,
Pick
I
away.
would move the crop. I would move his head up, and
yeah?
I would move the right side of the picture over closer to his elbow.
I
to
agree
more
with
or
you.
less make it
Yeah.
symmetrical.
I agree with you.
I think the best crop probably would have been in the viewfinder in the first place,
Right.
to not get quite as close, so that you had more possibilities for the way you could crop
I
it.
think that's a great
But
point, because I was pretty close.
When you move his mouth over to the right side of the picture a bit, he is then looking into a lot of space.
Yeah.
Great point.
But I
Yeah, I didn't
field.
do any post processing on this really at all.
Right.
But you make a great point. I agree with you.
I do agree with you, Mike, on the two observations, but I do think it needs a lot of space for Hank to be looking into. I think it would be poorer without the space to be looking into. But I think this is a great shot, Mark.
Great, thank you.
I really like it.
Good suggestions.
Good job. You got the focus stuff cracked. Some of your earlier stuff, you were working hard on focus, and I think whatever you're doing.
Well, Graham, I was working hard on leveling, if you recall, because you always tell me my pictures are crooked.
Well, this one probably is. I
use the auto level.
The horizon.
I use the leveler.
This is good. It's a great shot. Well done. Well done.
I think the background worked on that one too.
Yep.
Buddy.
So that's mine.
Love the pup.
Whose child is this?
It's mine.
Hey, Lynn.
You made me work for this. You gave me a damn Google Drive link.
I'm sorry?
You gave me a Google Drive link.
I don't know whether the image was too big that I sent. I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't know what I did wrong.
That's okay.
So
what do we think?
I like it.
Yep.
Me too.
Nice blurred background. Makes the puppy stand out. Really nice.
Did you do any post processing, Lynn?
Oh, I do raw photos, so yes. But not a lot.
I'm just wondering if you cropped out a little bit there on the right, the Christmas tree part, and it'll give more focus to the dog, which is a fabulous shot.
Well, yeah. To get a picture of her standing still at all is a miracle. So what bothers me is that table leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But the camera only goes down to a 4 on the aperture, so it doesn't blur the background anymore.
Well, I think it's sufficiently blurred that, you've got nice separation. It's nicely sharp, and the eyes are sharp, so that's perfect. To me, I can see why you would include the tree for the holiday theme, but to me, that does detract. I would love to see just an image of the dog itself.
Okay.
Because it's really crisp and it's gorgeous.
Okay, thank you.
So I have an observation. Maybe somebody could help me with this. I've noticed. I would say there's a bit of a red eye problem on the dog's right eye, and I've noticed that red eye correction doesn't work on dogs.
That's
Oh,
'cause
really?
They don't actually have red eyes. That's
Yeah. Has anybody else noticed such a thing? And
Yeah.
does anybody else see that in this photograph, which is beautiful, by the way?
Well, I don't see it in this photograph, but it's well known that animals reflect different frequencies, so that
Right.
you usually see a green eye, not a red eye.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's exactly red, but it's, I don't know, somehow it's distracting to me, but
Yeah.
otherwise, I love the chair leg. I love the tree. I love that dog.
Yeah, dog is cute.
Thank you.
And let me add, in terms of single point focus for animals, for dogs, cats, whatever, the focus point should be on one of the eyes, and usually the one that is closest to you, so that as that you get past that front eye and it gets into the dog's ear and the back of the dog, you begin to get the depth of field down. And I don't know, Lynn, whether that would have, I don't have any problem with that table leg, but it may be that if the focal point had been on the dog's front eye, which I think is the left eye here, it might have helped blur more of the background, including, and that, again, I think this is desirable for animal portraits, including the hair along the top of the head, the back part of the ear, so that part of that dog's head is in focus and part of it is not.
Okay.
Good. Good
Interesting.
job. Okay.
Mine. And
Recognize the house.
yeah. So these are Hanukkah candles, and I'm open for any suggestions. I did use Affinity software. I'm just learning it to get rid of some of the stuff, but I also have to say that the wood that the piece of marble sits on has water damage because our roof leaked, and I tried to do what I could. But anyway, I'm open for comments.
Okay, folks. Feedback for Susan.
I think
Well,
the only thing that hits me, it seems to be tilted a little bit. Maybe if it could
If you don't
straighten
tilt it
out.
though, then you don't get the reflection of the candles in the window, the flames. So that's a tough one.
Yeah. But I do love that the reflection out in the window of the candles in the front there.
Yeah, to me, it's tilted in
And underneath.
You need to be, as Mike B says, you need to be up above it to get the reflection, but it also looks like it should have been rotated right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would fix a lot of the issues. I think the leaning towards me, I could live with, but the rotation, I think, is needed. And the other thing to think about is, once you've got your reflection, of course, you can also go in with some software and fix even the leaning in. You can rotate it, as it were, that way.
Right.
Keep the reflection and make it look a little better. But I think it's a great thought. Were you on a tripod, Susan?
No.
Okay. All right.
One thing might be, do you have a larger window that you would just capture the window and the reflections?
Yep, that would have fixed a lot of the issues. Yeah. Nicely done.
And Susan, I think I agree with what everybody has said. And I was about to say what Graham just said. It's distortion control in Photoshop Elements. It's under filters that and it's parallax. Because the camera was closer to the one part of the shot than it was to the other in terms of being tilted. And to get this straightened out and to do the crop the way I think it would help in terms of leveling is to get farther back, to give yourself more room for error when it comes to cropping. If you're too tight on a shot like this and you try to do some of the distortion correction, you're going to have to crop out too much. You back up, and it's easier to make those fixes.
Okay.
But nice. I think this is nicely seen, and I think it's a good learning experience. If you could have, this is one that I would have gone for a tripod. I think. I don't know whether you're an habitual tripod user. Once you start using a tripod, it's one of the things that I think I found you can't live without. I resisted for years and years and years, and then once I started, it's like I would almost not think of taking a photo without a tripod nowadays. But good, this is a good job. I think a couple of tweaks, this will be a fantastic, even more fantastic photograph.
Okay. Well, thank you for the feedback. That's what I wanted.
Good job.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well
They'll
done.
like the house.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, one of these days I'll get you over here.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a
I
lot
like
down there.
So this is mine. This one started as kind of sarcasm. I'm good at sarcasm. To me, it's like, okay, holiday is a bunch of junk, right? So this was our Christmas morning collection of junk. So I just took a picture of it, and then actually I sent the wrong. This is the before, but I sent the wrong one. Sorry. But then I found within it, I found the next photograph that I thought was fun.
Did you send two or did you send one, Tom? I
Two.
don't.
I sent two. Let's go.
Okay.
Try going. Yeah, this is what
All right.
I found within that pile of junk.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice. Really nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a lot of obviously a tremendous amount of post processing, and I fooled around with blend modes, and I started using blend modes on top of blend modes.
Right.
So they and it just was fun, colorful. It reminded me, this is really more holiday.
You called a blend mode?
Yeah, this is in Affinity, so that's the term they used.
I see.
At each level adjustment, you'll find blend modes. Maybe Graham could give a good explanation of what a blend mode is, or if that's
No,
the same language. But
no, because I still struggle with. So the thing that I always teach is if I'm teaching something, I usually ask somebody to tell me what it is they're expecting to see as a result of what we're going to do. And so if I apply my own rules to me, I still can't predict generally what blend modes are going to do. I do use them, but I use them in a way of trying each one to see what result.
Yeah, right. Well, my philosophy is almost the opposite. I'm like, well, let's have some fun here. What do you want to do, program?
Yep.
And so I'll listen to my program and, oh, you want that? Okay. Well, how about if I do this? And then it's sort of a dialogue back and forth between myself and the program. I enjoy that.
There are a couple of books, and I'm trying to remember who wrote. There is one on blend modes that was quite good that I read a long time ago, but you can clearly tell that it had a good impact on me because I still can't predict the outcome. But I find blend modes to be one of the most difficult conceptually to get, but they're worth playing with, particularly if you want to play an abstract or you want to get unusual results. Different results than you actually saw. So yeah. I'd advocate playing as Tom says, but this one works really well, Tom. I like it as an abstract, but it still screams Christmas to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good job.
It was fun to do.
Yeah, I should think.
That's mine. I don't know how Christmassy is. I never follow directions anyway. Not very good at it, but I think this is the third time or fourth time in the 10 years we've lived here that I've seen this, and it's people in Farrington may be familiar with the Creekwood Trail, and this was last week, and when these are ice crystals, basically fibrous crystals of ice that grow out of the ground under certain conditions. And I'm still trying to suss out what those conditions are. But the next day, these were all gone. They showed up one morning when it was 22 degrees out and I was on my walk. These fibers get to be maybe about 1.5 inches. This was taken with my iPhone.
Okay.
And but I mean, on the right of the photograph, you can see how thin the ice sheet is, because you can see some of the background coming through. But anyway, and I think I have the next photo is another one of these.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's not it. But anyway, not quite. But anyway, that's
Yeah.
what these are. They're maybe about 1 inch to 1.5 inches tall. They grow out of the soil, and I think, yeah, that's it. And
Okay.
I think what you can see, I think what's happening is it's sandy soil. The ground is saturated, and as the ice freezes and expands, it can only expand up and out. And because it's pushing through sandy soil, it comes out in these filaments. But it's really kind of neat.
Wow.
If I can whenever I find them again, I hope I'm going to have a better camera. So whenever it's 20 degrees out, you'll see me walking the Creekwood Trail.
Mhm.
Cool.
Looking for these.
Yeah, a lot to see there.
This one's a lot stronger to me, Mike, but these are great.
I like the curved lines on that one. It gives it more interest to me.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't claim that these are great photos. It just was an example of the artifacts that I saw.
Well seen.
Actually, I like the first one better just because you can
Oh, you do?
see through. No, there, yeah, that on the right there, that that you were pointing out, seeing through stuff. I really like that.
These are really interesting.
They are.
What a good find. I look forward to seeing more on this topic, Mike. I think that'd be fascinating.
Well, it can be years between when I see these, so it may be a while. But I'm hoping we have some really cold days.
Yeah.
Cool. I've never seen anything like that before.
Actually,
Again,
the
I lived in
library,
California, so
a lot of those, a couple of years ago, a lot at the community college library, the walk around there, all along the edge one morning, there were just tons of these. And I can't remember the name. There's a name for what they are called and when they show up and that kind of thing. But it looked to me like they had just done some edging along the sidewalks, and it had probably similar gravel or something like that, but all along the sidewalks that morning, because I know I had my iPhone too and was I have 50 million pictures because they're so beautiful. I mean, they're just incredible.
Yeah, really neat.
good
But
job.
that's another place to look.
Thank you, Mike. Those are great.
Okay,
We
this
have
is
comedians amongst us.
This is
mine. It's taken with an iPhone, and basically, the power company came in, was cutting a bunch of trees. One day I was walking and saw that they had cut this stump and kind of noticed what looked like a smile. So
Right.
I took a bunch of acorns and picked some holly berries and made this just as kind of a silly, fun, Christmassy
What a
holiday.
fabulous image.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thinking.
love the mouth. That was just there, I guess. So you didn't have to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
anything with that.
As soon as I saw that, I thought I got to get
Yeah,
some eyes
right.
and those. So there
That
you
gave
go.
you the basis for the whole picture.
That's fabulous. Well seen and well constructed. I mean, what a fabulous image. That's great.
Susan,
Good
tell the
job,
rest about
Susan.
the holly leaves, because I thought that was really interesting.
Oh, okay. So, all right. I'll just tell you. So I did this one day, and then the next day I was up there looking at it again, and my neighbors came by and they said, well, put some holly leaves on here.
Mm.
And so I did that, and I realized it was kind of was a little too kitschy. So I just thought, I'm going to go back to the plain stuff and just leave it that way.
Hmm. Very good.
Less was more.
Very nice. Wow.
Wow.
This is, I took this naturally at night, as you can see, and I had the camera. Graham, I was thinking about our last meeting, and you talked about autofocus at that meeting. So being not a real seasoned photographer, it was easier for me to use autofocus than find the different settings at night. I tried to think about composition a little bit, and also I cropped it, and that's pretty much and I think I did lighten the tree a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty much it.
Well, I think you did a good job, Bob. It works. It leads us into the image.
Right.
And I think this is a great shot. So where did you actually autofocus? Can you remember what the focus point was? Or did you just let the camera sort it?
I don't do very good at when it's night. I
Right.
just put it on autofocus.
Okay.
I probably could have looked.
No problem. So the only thing I would like to see is this guy gone over on the right.
Yeah.
It drags me out. So I would just do a spot on that guy. And then I think it stands well. And if you want to play, this is another one where you could play with noise reduction if you wanted. But, in images like this, I always think a little bit of noise adds atmosphere. So to me, it works. It's a nicely seen and made image.
Good.
Anybody else?
Yeah, and in terms of the composition and the leading lines, there are three. I mean, there are the trees, there's the sidewalk, and there's the road, and they're all taking you down that path. And in terms of Susan's picture of the tree stump, that was Susan, right?
Yeah.
You can't skip the composition element on that by getting that face off to the side of the photo as well. So, there's been, both of these are good examples of composition, of good composition, good examples of good composition.
Yeah, good job, Bob.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, that's Mike's second one. Okay.
Oh, that's mine. It's only holiday. It's kind of the category of fun stuff, just because I had more time during the holiday to, wander around the house and stuff. And any guesses about what it is?
No.
Yeah, it looks like light bulbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Actually, the line, the kind of edge of there's a round line edge of the sink. And I had water in the sink because I was trying to capture a prism effect that was coming down through one of the windows. And in the course of that, the light above it started to reflect with the mirror in the middle and into the water of the sink, which was great because when I moved the camera just gently back and forth, the perspective, you've noticed in the bottom, it looks like a roll of toilet paper, but it's sort of melting into the edge of the sink. And so I could get it all separate, or I could get it melted. It was just fun. It just was a really fun thing.
And Betty, do you know what a watermark is? It's where you put an electronic signature on your prints.
Yes.
You need to do this or I'm going to steal it. I love this picture.
You can have it, Mike. Anybody that wants it.
So
this is just super.
Everybody kept saying, "Oh, it's rolls of toilet paper. That's what it is, right?"
Wow.
No, not. It's
I
fun.
wouldn't have guessed that.
It's great. And I've been, you guys keep making me envious. What AJ does particularly has sort of motivated me. And there is a great group I think it's called Tabletop Photography on Flickr. And there's like everything else on Flickr, there's a lot of stuff where you're going, yeah, okay. But there are some really good images in that group too. And, this is, AJ's inspiring me, and this is inspiring me, Betty. Try and do more, with stuff that I've got, rather than finding excuses not to make images. Yeah.
And,
Great.
and Betty, did you post this on the InFocus Facebook page?
No, I haven't.
Will you?
Yes,
Yeah.
Bill.
Please.
All right.
Do good stuff.
Makes it easier to steal, huh?
Fantastic.
Wow, I think this is a really, really beautiful photograph. Did you add the noise, Betty, or
Then of course I stuck it in photos and played around with color. It was a pretty, the color was not there in the first place at all. And this is the noise, or all that was just the side effect of trying to get some color into it.
Yeah,
And,
it's really
and I
beautiful.
kind of decided it was good enough. And
good job.
Well, the reason I ask you to put it on the Facebook page is so that I can make it the cover photo.
oh,
I knew where you were going.
okay. Whatever. I enjoyed it, but I must say that everybody else I showed it to was a little bit more lukewarm than you guys. So I appreciate your.
No, I like it.
Great.
Hey, Betty, I missed part of this. I missed the part where you said, "What is this thing? What is it?"
It's the three top lights above the sink in the bathroom, reflecting down into the water in the sink below. That curved line is the edge of the sink.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And there's a mirror on the wall, so I don't even remember, what is mirror reflection and what is water reflection. But it was just lots of fun to play with. If you ever, get bored sometime, just fill your sink and, and go ahead and.
Well, the comment that I wanted to make was, this is not one of those snap and shoot images. This took a little bit of thought. A little bit of reflection on what you were trying to capture, and I like the way you set it up. It's just a really interesting image. Very nice.
It's art.
Thank
it
you.
is art.
Well
yeah.
done.
Well, I have another iPhone picture on here if we have time, but of something else. It's opposite. Ooh, that's beautiful. Wow.
Oh, okay. Anybody think?
Helen.
Helen.
Just a pile
Wow.
of Christmas decorations.
That's very pretty. Very pretty.
Well done, Helen. I like it too.
Very pretty.
And how big are these things? How close were you?
The white balls are probably almost as big as softballs. It's a hard
Wow.
regular baseball, not a softball. So I was getting close, real close. And as you know, I can't see when I'm in focus. So I was doing my best and guessing.
It's great.
Interesting abstract. That looks really good. I might have been tempted with this one to make it a little more out of focus.
I have plenty of those. I pushed when I was doing the post-processing, I pushed the clarity all the way to 100% to get it this
right.
Okay.
Right. So with this one, I think there's a great image here, but this is another one where you could play with this for hours, and you could try movement, you could try zooming. It's a really fascinating set of ornaments, and you could play with this stuff for ages. And I always see it after the event. I'm not at the time. I probably take a picture and move on. So, but well done. This looks great.
Yeah, good job, Helen.
I was trying to focus on the colored ball as the central, try to give us something to look at in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was just a pile, and I just took the pile.
Good job. Oh.
Oh.
That one.
Oh.
Yeah, that's actually mine from an iPhone at Briar Chapel. This is the first time I've ever seen a heron, and he obviously has been around there a lot. He didn't move, and I could get pretty close to him. But it was a good example. This is a much larger picture, actually. It's cropped down of where I tried to get him over on the right side so he'd be into the picture. But there was so much stuff that I didn't want that I couldn't do it. And it really suffers it. I mean, it brings home how important it is to try to do that. I mean, I still like the picture, but
yeah. Well, I think you have enough room. It's looking into space. It's not tight at that side. So, but yes, I mean, I think you're right. It would have been nice to get the perfect shot that way, but this is a great shot. I think
really
nice muted colors.
Yep. I think it's
beautiful. And that was
that. Blotzer likes it. He's the bird guy. I said if Blotzer likes it, he's the bird guy. It's got to be good.
Well, we have bird ladies here too, bird women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. He's great.
Good job. Keep doing those walks, Betty. Is this in Briar Chapel on the alongside the creek?
Yes, it is. I mean, this is very near the bridge, actually. There's a good, like we talked last time, there's a really good circular bike path kind of thing for hiking. And, you know, all the pictures you've seen of mine for the last few times have all been Briar Chapel, because that's where, you know, I am. I mean, for walking.
I need to go and explore there. It's so close, and in fact, I could walk there from here, but I need to get out there and get on with it rather than talk about it. But good job, well done.
Very
beautiful.
Beautiful. Nice.
Who took your picture, Mark? This is Mark after he's been drinking his bourbon.
Oh, there you go.
Who is this?
That's the happiest thing on our tree. And I thought going into this year, we need happiness.
That's right.
And every time I look at this, I just smile. So I figured, well, obviously it's a holiday season photo. And I was having trouble with the lights on the tree. I was trying to get the face a little bit more in light. But as I fooled around with it, I just said, well, this is probably the best thing, because the bulbs were more highlighted. And that's basically what I did. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is certainly not art, but it was fun.
That's fun.
I think
Definitely.
I think this is a really nice
smile.
You did beautifully. And I like the angle you shot it from. That makes it different.
I think if you had the lights from the front, you would wash out some of the detail on the fur, or the
because you've got really beautiful rim light on the arms, especially. That's beautiful. And that gives makes the character stand out from the tree. That's the backlighting is beautiful.
Yeah,
I like the diagonal effect on the arms. It almost makes it look like it's in motion.
Yeah. It's dancing.
It's reaching out for a big hug.
Well, the photo looks to me to be very crisp. It sort of explodes with color. It's a great memory photo. Excuse me. I like the way you've cropped it. But this is a fun photograph. I really like this photograph.
Yeah, well done. I'd be using this one again, Larry. I think this is a great photograph.
Thank you.
Yeah, if
this, because
Larry, if you send
I
go
tried
ahead, Helen.
a picture of lights, and that's why I took a picture of that pile of decorations, because I could not get the lights to do as you've done here. What you've done here was impossible for me, so I think that's a really technical use of the camera to get what you got. I appreciate it after having tried and failed.
Thank you.
Well, and I think that both Helen and Larry, if you send Christmas cards, you have next year's.
Yeah, that's great.
true. Yeah.
There you go.
Good idea. She has a tutu on, and you can't see her legs. The red fur at the bottom of her feet are her little kind of tutu thing, and she normally is on top of the tree. So so I had to move her obviously to get a good shot. But
Well done.
it's
That's really excellent.
Fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, this is mine. I was at a hotel over the weekend and they had a Christmas display. They had this reindeer with the lights around her. And then she was pulling a sleigh and people were using the sleigh to get in there and have their family pictures taken. And I took a picture of the whole thing and it looked nice and everything. But then I started looking at the reindeer through, with the lights around it, like focusing in just on the face and the antlers. And I just liked the way it came out with the lights all around it. The only one that bothered me was this light here is a little bright there, but I just liked it better than just getting the whole display itself.
Yep.
Kind of zeroing in on something in it.
It's really good.
Striking.
I think the clone tool would have helped you a lot with this one.
Yeah. I have to fool around with it more. I didn't get to start working on it until yesterday afternoon.
Right. No, it works really well. Well seen. And I think this is a perfect example of taking a standard scene that everybody takes like a record shot or a memory shot of, and then finding something unique in there.
Inside of it, yeah, definitely.
Get close.
I like
Get close.
Yep. Good job.
Well, thank you.
You like it stuff this week. Okay. And Anna, I think this might be the final note. Yes, this is the final note.
Okay, that's mine.
I knew it.
It reflects my personality during the Christmas season. Actually, we have to give Frank a little thank you here because he has, I think, the same doll that he put on Facebook.
Yeah, let me show you.
I had to go out and get one as well.
Ah.
I did as yep, there he is.
There he is.
Oh, this is a big doll.
Now, this guy's got an evil look on his face, similar to Bill's too.
Ah.
Yeah, mine looks a little more in a drunken stupor. But what I did is I just laid it inside the Christmas tree. You know, found a spot where it would hang there with the ball next to it. And what I did is I shot it at f/13 so that some lights that you'll see have the starburst.
Right.
And,
Right.
And it was just a personal reflection of Bill Copeland.
My only comment is I think you need an exclamation point after beer.
Right.
Really make the point more forcefully.
Yeah, and there's no comment after bar. There should be a...
Yes.
Well seen, Bill. Well put together. I think.
Bill, I think this would be a great Christmas card for next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another one, yeah.
Listen,
I had a lot of other photos that I took of the tree with the lights and the decorations, but yeah, it didn't reflect me. Yeah, it's got to be old.
Well, you could try photoshopping and your face into Santa's. That might work.
Bill?
Well, I keep seeing it. I keep seeing it given the caption with one of those airline small bottles of in one of the paws.
Good job all around. Wow, some fantastic work this week.
Yeah, there were just some really good photos. I mean, and I I know it's been said before, but I think about where this group started, and geez, it's just really cool, really cool. Across the board.
You should all be really
across the thumbnails.
We didn't get anything from you, AJ?
I had to unmute myself here. No, I didn't have a chance to get anything in. Looked at some stuff last night at the last minute, but I decided to. Bill, I'm going to get in touch with you and see if we can set up a time that would work for the group that would be interested in doing a GIMP presentation.
That'd be
Very
good.
good.
Gary and I did kind of a trial run this week, and it looks like it's probably going to take me about a half an hour to do what I would like to do. So it might be a little bit more than what we want during meeting time. So maybe we can schedule something at a different time.
That'd be good.
Sounds great.
All right, so I'll get in touch with Bill, and then he's got the email list, and we can work something out.
Cool.
And AJ,
Yeah.
This thing called mergers, where objects tend to merge with something in the photograph. That bird is about, I don't know,
No,
the positioning of that bird.
It's a dangerous position.
Been there, done that.
Yep.
All right. Good job, Eddie. What a fantastic set of images this week. Good job. All
Everybody remember to send me what camera you use, what brand.
All right. Any closing comments or thoughts from anybody?
Great fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Good job all around. Have a great new year, everybody. Stand by for the freezing.
Yeah.
And Mike for the,
Sue, are you still on at 2 o'clock to do the?
Yeah, just send me, you'll send me the link?
Yes,
Okay.
a Zoom invitation. Yeah, invitation.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Mike, thanks again for the focus tutorial.
Yes.
Well, you're welcome. I'm happy that it helped. I was trepidatious.
It helped me.
All right, you guys.
Great to hear.
See you all.
Take it easy, everybody.
Bye.